Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining this afternoon's webinar. So this afternoon's webinar, we will be looking at LinkedIn and creating a LinkedIn profile. And we will look at ways how you can utilize LinkedIn for your job search effectively. So I would just like the opportunity to introduce Jade Brady.
Hello, are you all right? Sorry, I had you muted there. Can you hear me all right?
Hi Jade, yes. Sorry, we are experiencing some technical issues this morning, so please bear with us. So to introduce Jade, Jade's an experienced personal career coach, and she has a comprehensive understanding of the modern job market and a proven ability to facilitate successful career transitions for individuals at all levels in industry. Jade has supported individuals from a broad range of backgrounds and experiences, including engineering graduates and professionals within the sector transition, and advising and guiding women in engineering returning to work after career breaks. Jade has been working with the IMechE network for over 5 years now, following on from her earlier career in engineering recruitment. So at this point, I'd just like to hand over to Jade.
Thank you for the introduction. Hello everybody and welcome to Renovo's LinkedIn webinar. Today's webinar is actually split into two key areas. So we'll talk about creating a LinkedIn profile, we'll talk about utilising LinkedIn in your job search, and then the key areas that we're going to cover are things like creating a LinkedIn profile, which will cover things like an introduction to the basics, how to build an all-star LinkedIn profile, how you can increase that visibility. We'll then touch upon the power of endorsements and recommendations, and then we'll talk about utilising LinkedIn in that job search. So for the first 15 minutes, I'm just going to talk you through how you can achieve a LinkedIn all-star profile. Now, an all-star profile is your profile strength. So when you reach an all-star rating, that means that that profile is optimized for success. So according to LinkedIn, profiles with an all-star rating are 27 times more likely to be found in a recruiter's searches. There's many benefits of having an all-star LinkedIn profile. Now, a LinkedIn profile allows you to create an online professional brand, which showcases your profile, your expertise, your recommendations, and your connections. And recruiters are more likely to connect with you once you achieve an all-star status. Now, recommendations on your LinkedIn profile demonstrate credibility in your industry and they highlight those achievements. And LinkedIn has an extensive job board. It will match job opportunities based on the keywords that are on your profile. So the more complete that profile is, the more matches you will receive when it comes to job opportunities. Now, creating an all-star LinkedIn profile will encourage other professionals to connect with you, which will help you grow that network with other industry professionals. And career opportunities are essentially attached to people. Now, when you use LinkedIn, you must keep in mind that you're going to be presenting your professional image online. You're going to be making yourself visible to important decision makers in key organisations. Therefore, it's really important that what is on that LinkedIn profile is strong, it's professional, and it's selling you as what you want to be found as. So for those that haven't already got a LinkedIn account, you just need to go across to the website, you put in a few personal details like your email address, the industry. And initially, when you first set up an account on LinkedIn, you just put in that basic information. You can skip all the prompts and come back to it later on. You just need to make sure that that profile is established, and then you can work on tailoring it and making sure that it's selling you as you want it to. Now, a lot of clients that we work with do ask whether they should upgrade to a premium account or whether they should stick with a basic account. I'm going to walk you through my profile today, and that is just a basic account. We have, I work with people that have equally the same amount of success on a basic account. But if you are considering upgrading, you can learn more about the differences between the two, just looking at the LinkedIn Help Center, actually just bullet points, the main differences between the account. Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go across to my LinkedIn page and I'm just going to talk you through in a lot more detail about the different areas of the site. If you just bear with me whilst I bring up my profile. There you go. You should be able to see my profile now. Now, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be using this black toolbar across the top of the page just to talk through the different areas of the LinkedIn profile. Now, just be aware, I am using a laptop today, so if you have a smartphone or maybe an app or a tablet, it may potentially look a bit different. What we'll do is we'll just start with this home page. Now, every time you log into LinkedIn, you're brought to this home page. And your LinkedIn homepage provides you with updates and a summary of what is going on in that network. And that's summarized in this network activity just here. And it takes up the main part of that homepage. Now, you will notice that LinkedIn doesn't show everything your network is posting by default. And that's because it's only showing content that it believes is relevant to you. So what you can do here is you can just change it to either top news or recent news. So say, for example, if maybe you're connected to a recruitment consultant and they post a message or an update about a role that they're recruiting for, then you could change that filter to recent just to make sure that you're not missing out on any opportunities. And at the top of your homepage, you've got the option here to share a post just under this start a post section. And this is a really good way to increase that visibility on LinkedIn, especially if you're doing things like sharing news articles, maybe it's information about events you're attending, even if they're virtual events. Now you also have the option of clicking into write article, which is just here. And this is a really good way to demonstrate your expertise in a particular area or industry, and it will be available for your connections to see. It's not relevant to everybody, but it's good if maybe you're looking at establishing yourself as a consultant or an engineering specialist. Some people use this area to send a farewell message on LinkedIn, especially if they're going through a process of redundancy. And then that way you can subtly flag to your network that you're open to hearing about opportunities. Now, on the left, LinkedIn will tell you how many people have viewed that profile and how many people have viewed your post. So you can see that here, for those numbers there on the left-hand side. So you will be able to see the most recent people who have viewed your profile, even on the basic account. But to get the full list, you do need to pay to upgrade. It is worth noting that when you look at other people's profiles, the same thing will happen. Now, you can choose to remain anonymous when you are having a browse or research other people's profiles, and I'll demonstrate shortly how you can adjust those settings in the settings section. Now, let's move on to the profile. One of the first steps to getting your LinkedIn network started is building an engaging profile. So to edit your profile, you just need to click, well, there's two ways you can do it. You can click into the picture of yourself here and click into view profile, or you can click into that section there. So if we just click into view profile, okay. So when it comes to that LinkedIn page, you need to treat your LinkedIn profile as your own personal brand. Being visible in LinkedIn search results and ranking well in them is called LinkedIn search engine optimization. The more times a specific keyword is mentioned in your profile, the higher you are on a recruiter's search results. And recruiters and employers are using straightforward keyword searching on LinkedIn to find their clients the right individuals in the right industries. So make it really easy for them to find you. To help increase your visibility to the recruiters that are going to be searching, you need to think about the keywords that they would be looking for when they search for somebody with your skill set. So you need to ask yourself things like, what are my unique selling points? What services do I provide? What are my areas of expertise? What specific technology do I have or knowledge do I have? It could be industry experience or sector knowledge. And in addition, you could possibly look at a range of job descriptions that you're interested in just to help you with some of those keywords, and then make sure that the keywords from these adverts are in that profile. You could also make use of a word cloud function. There's a website called wordle.net, which creates a visual image using the keywords that are most prominent in job descriptions. Now, before I move on to the individual sections of your profile, you can enhance your profile by adding and customizing sections just by clicking into this Add Profile section on the right-hand side. Now, you can also let recruiters and your network on LinkedIn know that you're open to job opportunities with the new hashtag Open to Work feature. So you just click into this section, and then it's just under Intro, and then you click into Looking for a New Job, and then you can edit this section. So with this part, you can specify the types of jobs that you're interested in, your preferred location, and it will help your profile show up in search results when people are looking for suitable candidates. Now, if we just come out of this section here at the top of the profile is the most important part. It's the first piece of information that people will see of you. It's your name, your professional headline, and a photograph. And recruiters essentially base their decision whether they want to look at the rest of the profile on this section, very similar to the profile that's on that CV at the top. So it is important that you include a professional photograph on the profile. LinkedIn doesn't actually class that profile as complete without an image, which means that you won't be appearing in search results. Now, if you work in a corporate environment, think about how you would dress for work, and that image should reflect that. Now, you can also edit banner just behind here by clicking into the pencil. You can change that image as well. But the key part is this headline section here. I'm just going to highlight it. Now, when you first set up your LinkedIn account, LinkedIn actually defaults this to a job title at an organization or your last organization, but you can change this. Now, this should sum you up in a few words about you, what you're looking for. You are restricted to 120 characters here, but you need to describe yourself as the job title you want to be seen as, rather than using it to say that you're actively seeking a role. So make sure what you put in here is in line with your career goals. Be mindful that this has a high emphasis for search engine optimization. That's why it's really important that you're using that targeted job title. So you can just edit all of this section just by clicking into the little pencil there. And then to the right-hand side, you've got your current organisation just here. So that would be there. And then you've got your highest level of academic achievement, the location, and then the number of connections as well. So just make sure that all of this is up to date, because people tend to use this as part of that search criteria. If you would like to relocate, then you can change this target location here in that LinkedIn profile, and you can change it to where you're thinking about moving to, so you're attracting employers and recruitment consultants in that area. The next section, so if we just move down, is the About section. Now, this basically needs to be about, I'd say, a 30-second description of who you are, what you do, and what you've achieved. It's very similar to that profile on the CV, but it's a lot more detailed. Now, this is a good place to highlight your achievements or your keywords that are relevant to that experience. And again, you just click into the pencil to edit that section. So really make sure that you're promoting your skills, your knowledge, your personality here. Make sure that it's meaningful. You're using the keywords that's relevant to that sector. This is the first part that an employer and a recruiter will read when they're looking through their profile. Now, for those that are potentially looking to switch industry, this is an area where you could possibly emphasize some of those transferable skills that would be relevant across other sectors. And then you could just round this statement off with your career aim. You know, what do you want? What are you looking for? And then you could pop on those contact details as well. Now, when a recruiter or maybe an employer looks at that profile, they actually only see the first few sentences. So let me just come out of that. Yeah, actually, it's not showing it, but usually it should say see more just here. And if it does, then you need to make sure that the first few sentences, there, I've just done it there, get across that job title. So you need to make sure that it's very easy for them to see from the first few sentences what it is you can do. Okay, and you also need to make sure that the content is easy to scroll read, just in case they are using an app or they're looking for candidates on their mobile, for example. Now, the next section, if we just move down, is the dashboard section. So you should be able to see that, your dashboard. Now, this shows your profile views, views of recent posts and search appearances, and then LinkedIn summarizes your recent activity just under the summary section. So you can see here how you're viewing this search appearances is anybody who's put your name into that search bar or maybe Google. So if we just move up to this section here, the featured section, this is any articles you've written, or if there's any articles you've seen online that you want to feature, it will just appear here on the profile. Now, if we just move down to the experience section, now LinkedIn profiles that list past positions are 12 times more likely to be reviewed by hiring managers. They're 6 times more likely to receive new business opportunities. So you need to make sure that you include in every role, not just the basics, but what you did, and more importantly, your key achievements. Where have you added value? So you need to complete the descriptions of every role to make sure that you're coming up in as many searches as possible. Now, some people choose to lay this out by having a paragraph which summarizes the scope and the purpose of the role, and then followed by a few key achievements, maybe 4 to 5 key achievements. And you can just click into the pencil there to edit that section. Now, if there's individuals who don't have a job title at the moment, then when it comes to searching, if you've got an ongoing date, you actually rank a lot higher in those search results. So what you can do is you can click into the plus sign here, and you can add a current position. So if we just click into that plus sign, now in the title box here, you would put in that preferred job title. So let's just say it was project manager. And then you would put in actively seeking new opportunities. And then in the company, so in the company box, you'd put actively seeking new opportunities. This is the type of work that you want. Location would be where you want that job. And then in the date boxes, you need to make sure that you click the I currently work here. But you need to untick update my headline so it doesn't change that headline section at the beginning. In this description box, you could just list all the job duties that you're capable of doing. So again, just study those job descriptions and think about what those duties are. I think you've got about 2,000 characters here. So you could use phrase starters like proficient at overseeing or highly skilled in, extensive background includes, or things like industry expert in. And then that will show that you can do the job even if you're not using those skills now. I'm just going to come out of this section. Okay, so the next part, if we just move down, is the education section. Now, the education, with this part, I'd put any higher education that you've achieved. You don't always have to put in the school that you've attended, so you don't need your O levels, A levels. It's your highest level of academic achievement. And then you can put things like publications, anything that's going to enhance that reputation and provide you with more exposure. Just on that, when you click into some of the, so say for example, if you wanted to add any uploads or any rich media under this media section, then you can just click into that specific job and you can upload it there. So with that one, it could be quite useful if maybe you're in a creative role, maybe you want to display visual pieces of work. You could possibly speak to your marketing team about marketing collateral that you could use just to demonstrate what that business does. You actually rank a lot higher in the search results when you're using rich media. So have a think about that section. It all groups together under that particular role. So it's displayed on the profile page. So just make sure that you're checking, making sure that it's professional, it is shaping that personal brand. And like I said, it's contributing to how high up you appear in those search results. Now, if we just move down again, we're now at the skills and endorsement section. Now, this section really is worth paying attention to because recruiters essentially use this to filter and search for candidates. So, for example, if a recruiter was looking for a mechanical design engineer and they needed to have experience of, let's say, vacuum systems and project management, they would use this section as part of their keyword search. Okay, so this section really determines the quality of jobs that are advertised as well. So you've got your jobs page here, and you will see when you click into it, it says based on your profile. So I'd make this list, I'd say about 15 skills, and then LinkedIn actually only shows the top 3 skills. So you need to make sure that you've chosen ones which demonstrate your core areas of expertise. It then splits the section into things like industry skills, interpersonal, other skills. Now, people will endorse you for the skills that you have on your profile. So rather than connections writing written testimonials, LinkedIn will prompt them when they look at your profile just to verify if you have a particular skill, and then you're notified if you've been endorsed. So just keep an eye on what skills you have on here. Make sure you keep control over it. You can always delete a skill that you don't want on that profile, or maybe you've got a skill on there that doesn't represent what you do. Again, you can just click into that little pencil and you can tailor that part. So you can delete them. You can just drag and drop them by clicking into those bars there. And this is how you unpin the top 3 skills. So you can move it all around. So think about those career goals. What jobs do you want people to get in touch with you about? And then tailor this section to match that. Now, if we just move down again to the recommendation section. Now, recommendations are very similar to testimonials. They help illustrate your achievements. They really demonstrate that credibility, and they show why people enjoy working with you. It's a really good way to show others that you can be trusted. And if you're in the process of being made redundant, this is a really good time to start asking for recommendations from managers or colleagues, because that's going to highlight that you have been valued. Now, you can ask for recommendations by going into the recommendation section and clicking into ask for a recommendation, and then you just follow the prompts from there and you can personalize a message. Just make sure that you do get recommendations from a wide range of people, not just line managers. So, for example, it could be suppliers, it could be customers, it could even be people that you've worked alongside, and just be specific about what you want to be recommended for. Recruitment consultants really take notice of recommendations, and they actually group together at the bottom of the page there. So you can see there when you click into show more, you've got a list there of all the recommendations. So just going over that, you can actually start creating a list of people that you would like recommendations from. And just remember, it's a two-way process. It may be that you provide a recommendation for somebody and vice versa. Now let's just scroll back to the top of the page. I'm just going to show you some general housekeeping and some useful hints and tips when it comes to that profile. So if we just move up, I'm just going to click into this section where it says on the right-hand side, edit, public profile and URL. If we can just click into that, this essentially shows you what your profile looks like to the public. So it's the easiest way, the easiest way to explain it is that you have 2 profiles. You've got the one that people can see if they're connected to you, and then you've got a one if anybody puts your name into Google or any search engine, this is essentially what they see. So you can actually control this just down the right-hand side there where it says edit visibility. So maybe, externally you don't want people to see that past experience or that earlier career history, and you just want them to see that introduction and that photograph. you can edit everything down there, and you need to make sure that that's either public or your network can see that profile. Your settings need to be amended in line with that job search. So if you want recruitment consultants to find you, then you need to tailor this section appropriately. Now, another useful tip is that you can actually copy and paste your LinkedIn URL to your CV, or you can put it on the signature strip of your professional email, and it essentially acts like a personal website. So you will notice that at the moment, it may just be, when you click to this pencil, it may just be lots of random numbers and letters after your name. So you can change this to maybe your first name, your surname, and then when you press save, you'll copy and paste that entire link, and you'll copy and paste it to the top of the CV where your contact details are. It also means that this is now optimized. So if anybody puts your name into a search engine or Google, your profile will appear a lot higher in the search results. So just remember that optimized profiles are 7 times more likely to be viewed. They're 11 times more likely when they include a photograph. And you can even improve that profile by up to 12 times just by adding more than one previous position, no matter how relevant you think it is. It's all about the keywords. Now, when I am working with people, one of the main concerns that they have with LinkedIn is their security or their privacy. But you do have complete control over your privacy on LinkedIn. So if we just go into the privacy tab, just a few ones that I want to point out here. So I'm just going to click into settings and privacy. So if you don't want people to see your details when you've looked at theirs, you can choose to remain anonymous. And that would just be under profile visibility. Profile view and options, and then you can select whether you'd like to be anonymous, or you just want the company name, or you just want your full name and the company. If you do change this, it does mean that when people look at you, you can't see who's been looking at your profile. There is another section here which is called shared job changes, education changes, and work anniversaries. And if you decide to tick the box that appears in it, it just means that your contacts receive updates when maybe you change aspects of your profile. It is a really good way to remain visible on LinkedIn. But if you are in the process of developing a profile from scratch, I'd suggest that you don't tick that box until you're completely happy with how it's selling you. Now, for those individuals who maybe have their own company, they're self-employed, maybe there's consultants, then you may want to create a separate company page. So this is quite useful if you've got your own business and you'd like to just keep that separate from that personal profile. A company page will serve different functions than a personal LinkedIn page, but you just click into this work tab and then you click into create a company page. Now, if you can't find the information on LinkedIn that you're looking for, there is a help center here. Click into that and then you can just type in the keywords and it answers everything from the profile, how to manage that account, settings, privacy. And also you can understand a bit more about the main differences between the basic and the premium LinkedIn account here. So now that we've covered how to create and optimize that profile, let's just move on to how to utilize that platform for networking in that job search. So once you've developed your profile, you'll find that LinkedIn is more beneficial as you start growing your network of connections. However, unlike other social networking sites, it's all about the quality of your connections rather than the quantity. So you only want to be connected to people that you feel comfortable working with on a professional basis. So first of all, let me just come out of this section. Let's go back to the profile. Okay. So one of the most common questions that we get asked is, how do I find people to connect with? And there's a number of different ways to find people. So first of all, if I just go back to the home page, LinkedIn will suggest people to connect with under the People You May Know tab. And if you just click into My Network, so I'm just going to click into My Network, and you'll see here when you scroll down that there's a list of people that you may know, and it'll select people from the industry, maybe companies that you've worked in before, connections of other connections. Maybe you've got connections in common with people. So it will suggest this here, and it will give you a long list of potential new connections, and also tell you here at the top if you've got any invitation requests. So this is based on information on your profile, or maybe it's people that you've already connected with. So if you're quite new to LinkedIn, this part may not appear straight away. You need to start connecting with people, and then it'll suggest other connections. On the left-hand side, you can see how many connections you've got. So here, you click into that. And then if you click into the number of connections, you can filter by first and last name, and you can search on people that you've recently added. So you can look at who you recently connected with. And then at the top of the screen, this part here is the main search function. So I'm just going to click into this bar. You've just got to keep it empty, and you just click straight into that magnifying glass. And then that's going to bring up the main search function. So this allows you to search for people, search for jobs, any content, and we'll be using this section throughout the webinar just to highlight the different parts of LinkedIn and how you can utilize it. Let's start off with people. So I'm just going to click into people. Now this is bringing up a list of people that are in my network, and we can see from the right-hand side that the top section there, that you've got the ability to filter the search based on location. It could be company. Now, before I show you how to search for people and how to connect, I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about connections. So when we look at these connections, we can see that we've got first and second degree. So we can filter between first and second degree. If I click into first and press apply, this is all my first degree connections. This means that I've asked them to become a connection, or vice versa. You can always tell that these are first degree because we've always got that one next to them. And then if we untick that and click into second degree, I also have access to my connections. So these people are known as second degree connections, and we can filter through to second degree connections, and it will actually tell you how you're connected to people. So let's just click into this individual here. We can see that when we click into this section that we've got 141 mutual connections. It will just highlight who we've got in common there. So being connected to somebody on LinkedIn means that you can see all of their professional profile information. You can see theirs. So it's really important that you're only connected to people that you want to be dealing with on a professional basis. And secondly, if you know a specific person, then you can just free type their name into the search engine. So you can also use a search box at the top here to search for people with a particular job title. So you could put in things like managing director and then a company, or head of engineering and a company name. But you can just type in the name of the person and their job title. So let's just use one of my colleagues as an example. So I just put in my colleague, Emma Louise. Cheers. So once you've found the person that you want to connect with, I'll just show you how you can connect with them. So the main way that you can connect is by clicking into the connect button. And then it'll prompt you to add a message. So that LinkedIn members will always be more likely to accept invitations that include a personal note. So when you click connect, you can personalize that message. The other option, for those people that have premium, you can send an in-mail to the individual. So in-mail is basically a private message that allows you to reach out to other members that aren't in that network at all. And at the moment, it is only available to premium account holders. You do need to pay to upgrade. But sometimes, if there's somebody that you want to connect with who's not a first or second degree connection, so they're not in that network at all, you need to think about, well, how can I make them a part of that network? So it could be that you know somebody who's maybe a second or first degree connection that maybe used to work for the same company. When you connect with that individual first, then that connection becomes a second degree connection. So you're only able to see your first and second degree connections full profile with that basic account, depending on their privacy settings. And then for third degree connections, you need to upgrade to that premium account. So like I said, if somebody's connected, it appears in this network tab. If someone's messaged you, in the messaging tab. And then notifications is articles or people that have recently posted, anybody you're following. So once you've connected to people, it's really important that you continue to network with them. It's often best to start connecting with people that you know and then just use that as a basis for expanding that network. The people search is a really good function if maybe you're looking to find recruitment consultants in your sector. So for example, let's say we were looking for a recruitment consultant that worked in, let's say, rail. And let's put a location and say Newcastle. And then as you can see, it's bringing up a list there of recruitment consultants that you can connect with. So you can be quite specific about the industry that you want to target there. And you could put things like recruitment consultant, it could be energy, and then the location. If you are using LinkedIn for, say, business development or job searching, or even just networking, you may want to just create some template messages in advance. And the more prepared you are with these templates, the easier networking will be. It is important to have these templates ready, but you still need to tailor and personalize them when you can. But even just having that template ready is going to begin that writing process. It's going to save you a lot of time, and it's going to streamline that process when you're reaching out to key decision makers within organizations. Now, you can also search for jobs on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is becoming the world's biggest platform on jobs. So let's just click into the jobs page. Now, you can access jobs being advertised both through LinkedIn and externally, and 87% of recruiters will advertise jobs on LinkedIn, and both organizations and recruiters will advertise on here. Some companies tend to recruit just on LinkedIn and they don't use any other job boards. So it's really important that when you're mapping out that job search strategy, you're thinking about the LinkedIn job board as well. So the quickest way that you can access it is just by clicking into that black tab, clicking into the job button. And with this section, you can save and filter searches. I'm just going to demonstrate how you can search for jobs. So this page is essentially the main job search function. Now, let's say, for example, we're looking for a role as a mechanical engineer in Manchester. Mechanical engineer, and then Manchester, England, search. Okay. At the top of the list, it will tell you how many jobs there are. So we've got 330 results. And then you've got the job title. So when you click into a job title, let me just find an example. A lot of these are with recruitment consultants. Use this one. There it comes. So as you can see, it will give you an overview. It will tell you a full description, how to apply, how many other people have applied, and it will tell you if there's any of your connections that currently work there. So we can see here that there's certain people in my degree of connections that already work within that organisation. It will also highlight how you match that job description. So if we scroll down, Yeah, it's not actually on this one, but you'll find that some job descriptions will say how you match, and it will highlight some of the skills that you have that's within that job description. That is based on your skills and endorsement section. So just make sure that you're clicking into that skills and endorsement section and you're adding any skills that are missing. Now you also have the option to save searches, and you can save the job as well and come back to it later if you want to apply for it. When you're saving your searches, just save that one as an example. You can either get email alerts on a weekly or a monthly basis. And then I'd recommend just setting job alerts up for maybe different locations or different job titles, or even just keywords you can put in there. And then when you log into LinkedIn, that will appear on that home screen. Now, you will also see that some of these jobs have a button called LinkedIn Easy Apply. Let's just click into that one. Now, LinkedIn Easy Apply means that your profile works as an online CV and you can apply directly just using the content of that profile. Obviously, it's a very quick method to send off applications, but it doesn't prevent you from being able, it does prevent you from being able to tailor and think about those keywords. So you're best off uploading a CV as well, and it just gives you that option to upload a CV. Now I've got a few more areas to touch upon, so if we just have a look at the company search section as well. Now I'm just going to go back into that main search bar, and then we've got the company page here. So LinkedIn is a brilliant tool for researching organisations and also the people that work in them. So you can use this to target people within your network that maybe work for companies that you really want to work for. It's also quite useful if maybe you're doing a speculative application, or maybe you want to do some research prior to an interview. You can even find out here, the person that's going to be interviewing you. Sometimes you can look at, the person who's currently in that role or the person who's left that role. Now, when you look at a company page on LinkedIn, it allows you to explore companies that you're interested in. You can get company updates and industry news, and you can learn a lot more about upcoming job opportunities. Now, to search for companies, let's just use an example. I'm going to put in Siemens. I'll just search Siemens, and that should bring up the company page. So here's the company page. Obviously, there's a few different ones there because there's different divisions. But if we just have a look at this page and we can follow the company, and that means that every time they advertise a job, that would come up in our feed. And then, as you can see on the right-hand side here, you can see all the employees that work there. So let's just click into all the people that work there. Now, say we were putting together a speculative cover letter and we wanted to find a specific person in that company. We could type in something like Siemens Head of Engineering, and let's just say rail again. And there you go, you have all of the directors that you can target. Again, it will tell you if you've got any connections in common. But I'd think about the companies that you would like to work for and start following that company, because if you are following a company, then you rank higher in the search results when you apply for a job with that business. Now, you can also search for groups under this main search function. Your group section is here. And groups are a brilliant way to meet people with similar professional interests and expand that network to people relevant to your industry. And you can access the groups again by clicking into that magnifying glass and then just clicking into the group section, or you can just type in the keywords that relate to that group. So let's use the IMechE groups as an example. So let me just type in IMechE here and then groups. And as you can see, it will tell you how many members they have. Obviously, there's different groups related to different regions and engineers. But being part of a group allows you to take part in discussions, exhibit that knowledge. A lot of recruitment consultants are using groups to find candidates. And it also allows you to connect with other people in that industry or field, and it gives that group networking to individual one-on-one networking. So some groups have the facility to be able to search for jobs advertised by other group members. And in some cases, being in the same group gives you the same access to that person as being a first degree connection, which means that you can actually send them direct messages and see their full profile. But like I said, that does depend on their security settings. I would say for those out there that are thinking about changing direction or doing something different, possibly moving between sectors, these groups are very useful just to research more about the role, the industry, asking other people about their experience on changing sector. You can actually search for content as well on LinkedIn, which is a really good tool to search recruitment consultants posts. So if I just click into content here, now a content section is any status or articles that people have shared or written. And then when we click into the tab, we can type in a topic or maybe a subject that you want to find more information about. So, for example, you could search any recruitment post by typing in things like "we are recruiting" or "we are hiring." Let me just do an example. We are recruiting, and I'll put mechanical engineer and search. And can you see how that brings up a list of people that are potentially recruiting? There's a list of recruitment consultants there. You may just want to put a location in there as well. So if I just put in Manchester again. There we go. So plenty of new vacancies for, and there's a list there of recruitment consultants and what they're actively working on. So these are jobs that sometimes haven't got to market yet. Maybe they have not been advertised yet. So you're actually seeing a lot of those jobs before they go through that advertising process. As a recruitment consultant, when a client says, this is what we need in the business over the next 2 months, then you use your network first to see if you've got the relevant candidates before you start advertising it and going through that process. So it is good just to search the content and just see what other people are posting. Now, you may want to consider sharing a farewell message on LinkedIn. And again, you would write that under the start a post section. And these messages typically acknowledge a significant amount of time at a business, or they celebrate successes, they thank colleagues. It could be thanking professional networks for their support, but it's a very subtle way of announcing to that network that you're open to hearing about opportunities and you're looking within the market. Now, as mentioned earlier in the presentation, if you can't find the information that you're looking for, you have this help centre section. So I'd recommend looking through there. And again, you can understand a bit more about the difference on the basic and the premium account. Now, I'm conscious that we've covered quite a lot, so let's go through a summary and then we've got some time to ask any questions that have come through. Okay, so to summarise, just a few key tips just to help you increase that visibility and effectively manage your LinkedIn presence. 93% of recruiters look up candidates on LinkedIn, so it's vital that you have the right keywords relevant to your sector. The more times a keyword is on that profile, the higher you appear on the results list when somebody's searching using that keyword. And don't use that professional headline to say you're unemployed or looking for work. Use it to demonstrate what you do and what you want to be found as. Make sure that profile is as close to complete as possible and classed as an all-star profile. A complete profile is 40% more likely to result in job opportunities. And update that status, share useful articles with your connections that will help prompt them to look at that profile, and people will be seeing your status updates on their homepage, which will then drive traffic towards that page. You also want to make sure that you're setting up job alerts, you're changing your privacy preferences, you don't miss out on opportunities, and you're demonstrating to recruiters that you're actively looking in the market. Utilize LinkedIn groups, follow company pages, and that will help you gain access to group member profiles, find new connections, and discover industry news. And then reach out to cold and casual contacts and use LinkedIn to explore decision makers within organizations and approach businesses on a speculative basis. You can use LinkedIn to tap into new and old connections, and that will build bridges towards potential opportunities. We've now come to the end of the webinar, so I'm just going to have a look if there's any questions that have come through. If you just bear with me. Okay, so there's just a few that have come through regarding the Wordle website, and that is wordle.net. There's a lot of questions coming through about the difference between premium and the basic account, but again, you can find that information under the Help Centre section. Now, a few people have mentioned what is an all-star profile and how do you check. It will tell you on your profile which parts you are missing. So when you are on that profile and it says add profile section, it will tell you which parts you're missing and which parts you need to update. Somebody's asked about declining connection requests, and with that one, you can decline, but they're not notified whether you've accepted or not. And sometimes if you keep getting the same connection requests and you don't feel like they're going to be beneficial to that search, then you could flag it to LinkedIn, or you could possibly just send them a message. For those that are asking about professional qualifications, including things like the CEng and the IMechE in your job title, from my experience in recruitment, engineering recruitment, we used to search on the keywords CEng and IMechE. So I would recommend putting it after your surname. You would just click into the pencil and you can add those credentials to your surname. Now, somebody's asked about the currently looking for opportunities in the headline section. With that section, just use it try and tailor it in line with what it is you're looking for and use the keywords that are transferable to other sectors. You don't always have to put a job title in there. You could just put in maybe the different interpretations of a job title, or you could just put in the key technical transferable skills like project management, the industry, for example. I'm just trying to get through as many as possible, but in terms of reordering the profile sections, you can't actually reorder it. That is just their set structure. You can select which part you want to include and which part you'd prefer not to, but you can't change that and move that around. Okay, there's a few ones regarding useful websites and the help centre and how to access it. And I'll be able to get that information sent over to you by the IMechE and useful links. But I think that's it for questions. So thank you very much for taking the time to listen today. Like I said, if there's any further websites or anything that I feel would be beneficial, I'll send it across to IMechE so we can send it over. Thank you.